Kickoff is just around the corner down in Gainesville, and these are my game-by-game predictions for the Florida Gators this season. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Check us out via podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. And as always, we are powered by our friends over at FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/SECU to join today and get started with $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/SECU to get $250 in bonus bets today. The Florida Gators with sky-high expectations in year 4 under Billy Napier get prepared to begin this season. Once again, it is Billy's most talented roster, at least that's the understanding and the belief down in Gainesville. And today, guys, I'm going to lock in my game-by-game predictions for Billy Napier, DJ Lagway, and the Florida Gators in this upcoming 2025 season. Guys, before we get going, once again, I mentioned our friends over at FanDuel. Their over-under win total for Florida going in the season, over-under 7.5, over 7.5 at plus 104, under 7.5 at minus 128. So interesting. Florida right there on the edge of, are they a college football playoff contender? Are they just on the outside looking in still? Again, there are very, very high expectations. Speaking of Gators down there in Gainesville, it feels like Billy probably needs to make a run to the playoff to keep the folks at bay, the locals there, if you will, happy. That being said, guys, let's take a look at the schedule as I lock in each of my game-by-game predictions. And Florida gets to ease into the season this season in non-conference play as they welcome Long Island. The Long Island University Sharks will come to the Swamp to kick off the 2025 season. Safe to say, guys, I think Florida is going to be fine in this one. They are going to cruise. The biggest storyline going in the opener is will DJ Lagway be limited? I mean, I think that's the only thing. Is Dallas Wilson playing in this game? Is he limited? What is the health of this football team? Is it a ragtag group, or do we see the first team on both sides out there, some backups get to play? Florida's going to roll in this football game, but again, you know as well as I do, that will be the question. Do we see a healthy DJ Lagway take the field, and what does Dallas Wilson look like? But Florida cruises, Florida wins. They start their season out 1-0. South Florida the following week comes to town, guys. There was a time where a couple years ago, I think this could have been a really, really compelling matchup. It is not that day. It is not that time. Florida is going to win this football game, and they are going to win it handily, I think, at the Swamp as they continue to build momentum towards that Week 3 game at LSU in Death Valley. This one is going to be a ton of fun. This is one, as I've begun to learn more and more about this rivalry, LSU and Florida, you realize how much hatred's in this rivalry. Like, these two sides, they don't like each other. Like, there is no love lost when Florida and LSU do battle. Tough thing for the Gators. It is going to be a night game at Death Valley. This is a tough place to play, one of the toughest places to play in all of college football. And I do think that's going to be too much for Florida. I just think, again, going on the road at night in Death Valley, you take on a quarterback in Garrett Nussmeier that I do think will be one of the country's very best. I just think it's too tall of a task. I'm not saying it's not going to be a really good game, a competitive game, because I think it will be. And I think Florida can do some things in their front seven to slow down that LSU run game, maybe force Garrett Nussmeier into some mistakes. But I think LSU will be able to do the same to a DJ Lagway. Maybe they have a late pick to seal it. I think LSU wins this game by a touchdown or less, but they do win this game on their home field. That said, the following week, you go on the road looking for revenge to Miami. Now, this is a game that I was at last year, and it was not even remotely close, right? This was the first stop of the SEC Unfiltered tour last year. We took a stop down to the Swamp and unfortunately watched the Gators get demolished. I think that's going to be on the minds of everyone involved. You might recall DJ Lagway did not play meaningful minutes in this game. This was still when it was Graham Mertz, of course, in the season opener. Last year, it was Cam Ward for Miami. This year, it is Carson Beck. I think Miami is going to be a really solid team this year. But I do think the Gators go down to Coral Gables. It'll essentially be a Florida home game. Miami doesn't bring a crowd. This isn't going to be an intimidating atmosphere. Come on. We know this. We know this as college football fans. There'll probably be more Florida fans there than there are Miami fans. I think the Gators will show up, show out. I think DJ Lagway has a big day. Look for Jaden Ball on the ground to pop off in this one as well. And I think the Gators will bounce back from the LSU loss to move to 3-1 early in the season before their bye week and before Texas, following the bye week, comes to town. Now, at this point, of course, Florida's still looking for the first SEC win. This is a really, really sexy upset pick here. It really is. There's a lot of folks, including my counterpart, Cole Thompson, who is picking Florida to beat Texas at the Swamp. I'm not quite there yet. I'm not quite there yet. I love this Gators roster. Do not get me wrong. I feel like I'm pretty high on Florida, but I'm high on Texas too. And I just think Texas, top to bottom in their 22, has still just got a little bit more than Florida's got in their 22. So I think it's a good game, but I think Texas does come into the Swamp, and I think they find a way to get a win at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium to hand Florida their second SEC loss and drop the Gators to 3-2 and 0-2 in conference play. It gets no easier because you got to go to College Station the next week. And this is a revenge spot for Florida, don't get me wrong. But, man, Kyle Field is a really, really difficult place to play. And I just think, listen, I think Mike Elko is going to have something dialed up for DJ Lagway. I think this is going to be a really tough game for that offense on the road. Maybe a little bit of a lower scoring game here. But I do think Texas A&M gets the win. I think Florida drops this football game as well to fall to 3-3 and 0-3 in SEC play. What is the mood in Gainesville? What is the mood in Gainesville if Florida, through 6 games, through halfway, 3-3, 0-3 in SEC play? That's where I've got you, though. I do think, though, Florida will bounce back in a big way, of course, the following week. They have the Mississippi State Bulldogs at home. No nonsense here. It will be belt to ass. I think Florida will take out some frustration. Listen, I think Mississippi State's going to be a little bit better than they were last year, but no matter. I mean, they were so awful last year. I mean, that's not saying a whole lot. Blake Shapen's going to do some nice things this year, but listen, in the Swamp, after Florida has lost back-to-back games, they're going to take out some frustration, no doubt. So you get to 4-3 here. You still don't have a conference win. Then comes the bye week. Then it is the world's largest outdoor cocktail party down in Jacksonville, Florida, between the Florida Gators and the Georgia Bulldogs. This is a game that we attended last year, and who knows? You might see us down there in Jacksonville yet again. Guys, that being said, I was at this game, and Florida was very, very close last year, right? It's a different Georgia team. Don't get me wrong. I think the Dogs have upgraded at some key spots. We'll see at some key spots, specifically the quarterback position. Where is this Florida team at this point coming off the bye week, right? 4-3 overall, haven't won an SEC game. Where is this team? What is the energy of the fan base at this point? How do they feel about Billy Napier right now, right? You might recall that when Florida last year ran across hard times, the one thing you got to give Billy Napier a ton of credit for, he keeps this football team together, and this football team believes in him. They rally around Billy Napier. I got Florida beating Georgia in Jacksonville. It has been a long time coming since the Gators took down Georgia down in Jax. I think Florida gets it done this year. They break the streak. Listen, if DJ Lagway doesn't get hurt last year, I think Florida wins the game last year. I think they get them this year. I think DJ Lagway will not leave Gainesville without a win over Georgia, and I think this is the year that they get them. It's one of the most fun and entertaining cocktail parties we've seen in quite some time. And when it feels like maybe not all hope is lost, maybe that's a little bit of a stretch, if you will, but when things are kind of teetering on, okay, what kind of season is this really going to be, Coach? I think Billy Napier and the Gators get themselves a massive win. I think it's Florida's defense stepping up, Caleb Banks, Tyreek Sapp, they have themselves a big game. Make life hell for Gunnar Stockton. DJ Lagway makes some big plays, and I think Florida simply finds a way. With the last game in Jacksonville for a few years, by the way, I think DJ Lagway gets it done. Florida pulls one of the upsets of the season as they upset the Georgia Bulldogs to move to 5-3 and get their first SEC win, by the way. Following week, you travel on the road to Lexington to take on the Kentucky Wildcats. I know Florida's had their struggles with Kentucky here in recent history. This Kentucky team ain't built to beat Florida, and they may not be built to beat anybody. I think Florida is going to absolutely roll in this football game. They are coming off of the high, beating Georgia, and all of a sudden, the Florida Gators are sitting at 6-3 and 2-3, or excuse me, 3-3 in conference play. Uh-oh, here come the Gators, 6-3, 3-3 in conference play. Then you go on the road to Oxford, Mississippi. Guys, this league, I'm telling you, the SEC this season, put on your freaking hard hats because there's landmines all over the place. I think Florida's going to run into one. I really do. I think Florida runs into another pitfall here. I think by this point in the season, Ole Miss is clicking defensively. They will have found themselves on the defensive side of the football. And I think offensively, Austin Simmons is a star in the making in this league. I think they will have the offense to go toe-to-toe with Florida. Tough place to play. I know it's not ranked as high as some others, but listen, Oxford, Mississippi is a place things get weird. Things get wild. It's not just the Grove. When they party down in the SIP, again, things are raucous. I like Ole Miss to pull the upset here. I think it will be an upset of sorts. I think Florida drops this game, maybe even unexpectedly, to fall to 6-4. And again, guys, that would drop their SEC record to 3-4 in conference play. 6-4 overall, 3-4 in conference play. The following week, you welcome the Tennessee Volunteers to town. And it's weird how late this game is in the season. Very, very weird. Need I remind you all, Tennessee has not won in the Swamp since 2003. I will say this, because they've had better teams go down. Think about 2023. Everybody thought Tennessee was going to win that football game. They've had better teams go down there and lose. So it's like maybe the team for Tennessee that's sort of flying under the radar, maybe that's the one that breaks the streak. But I got to see it. I really do, because I still think Florida's a good football team even at this point. I think they're a better team top to bottom than the Tennessee Vols this season. I got Florida extending the streak for whatever reason. Tennessee just cannot win at the Swamp. Give me the Gators to get a big bounce back win here, move to 7-4 and finish SEC play up at 4-4 before they welcome the Florida State Seminoles in the season finale. Guys, listen, is Florida State going to go 2-10 again? No, I certainly don't think so. Does that mean they're going to beat Florida? I don't see it. What is Florida State going to be? What is this Thomas Castellanos thing? Like, what is that experiment going to be like? This game in the Swamp, I think Gators win. I think Gators win by double digits. I will take Florida right now to win by double digits. Great rivalry game, very underrated rivalry. It's one of the best when both teams are good. I just don't think Florida State is very good. So that being said, Florida ends their season 8-4 overall, 4-4 in SEC play. Guys, I will admit to you, and say whatever you want, I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of pushback from Florida fans here. There's a little bit of hesitancy for me in regards to, I question if DJ Lagway can go through this entire season, start to finish, without getting banged up. I got to admit, that does concern me. Like, if you told me right now he is healthy in every single game, and I know guys get banged up all the time, but like this DJ Lagway thing, man, like it concerns me. He didn't throw in the spring. He comes into the fall, and he's got that leg injury thing where he's in a boot. I know he's healthy now, and he's practicing. I get that. But I just wonder if at some point at some point he doesn't get banged up and miss a game or two. If you told me right now he participates in every single game, he plays every single game, he is healthy, I wouldn't be opposed to adding another win on this tally. Maybe you upset LSU, maybe you beat A&M, maybe you beat Ole Miss, but I got to admit it affected me just a little bit, right? Just a little bit. Because I like this Gators roster. I think the offensive line's really good. I like the weapons you have at receiver, especially assuming Dallas Wilson's okay. I like the running back room led by Jaden Ball. Obviously, DJ Lagway kind of speaks for itself. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the conference. And then defensively, I think you're really, really salty yet again, led by a really good front seven. I still, I don't know that the roster's quite there where I count them as I feel really, really good about penciling them in as a college football playoff participant. I think they're a dark horse. I think Florida builds this year. I think it's another solid year, but I think it results in 8-4, 4-4 in conference play. But again, I do have you getting the big win over the Georgia Bulldogs. I do have you getting that one. I think you upset your arch rival in Jacksonville. I think that's sort of the signature win for Billy Napier at this point in his tenure. You got some big ones last year, right? I mean, you beat LSU, you beat Ole Miss, but beating Georgia is a different story at Florida, right? It's different. So I think Billy Napier gets the signature win that he's been looking for in Gainesville to this point in his career. But I do think 8-4, 4-4 in SEC play is the final result, which again would hit the over that FanDuel has set out at over under 7.5 wins. Guys, we'd love to hear your thoughts. You taking the over, the under 7.5, and what are your predictions for the Florida Gators heading into the 2025 college football season? Guys, that's going to do all for me. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Before we get out of here, I do want to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel because, as always, we are brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. On Tuesday, August 26th, it is FanDuel Futures Day, a new holiday for football fans. It's 24 hours of deals on all your football season predictions. So take a flyer on the MVP race. Maybe you think it's Joe Burrow, it's Jaden Daniels, it's Lamar Jackson, it's Patrick Mahomes. Hey, crown your champion in August. Is it the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Lions, someone else, or simply parlay your division winner dark horses? Mark your calendars, guys. This is your day for your hunches, your hot takes, your calls, and your odds. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. And make sure, guys, when you sign up, you do it over at FanDuel.com/SECU. That's FanDuel.com/SECU. FanDuel, play your game. Once again, guys, that's going to do all for me. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, turn notifications. Check us out via podcast. Wherever you get your podcast, you can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. Till next time, I'm Chris Phillips of SEC Unfiltered. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in, and we will catch you on the other side.